This is like, we should do this in a coffee shop or a bar actually, because I love talking to Danish, and I must say I'm a prejudiced party here because I like the app. I have lots of complaints with it also, Danish, especially on the UX as usual. But I love the stuff you guys put out. So both of us, we've been through this story, but for this audience, I want you to take us through the journey from 700,000 subs to now, what are we, 22, 24? 24, let's say about 24 million subs in the SWOD market. Remember, India has about 120 odd million OTT subscribers, people who pay for their OTT. It has about 485 million odd total viewership of OTT. So out of that, 120 million people subscribe to OTTs. And this is Sony LIV, therefore, by that standard, is the second largest SWOD in India after Hotstar. The largest OTT, you just heard the head speak, which was Satya, which is YouTube. I don't know where MX Player is these days, but there's Hotstar and there's Sony LIV now. So, you know, and this was a brand which everybody had written off. So, sorry, without getting too much into it, Danish, we'd like to hear your side of the story. What happened and in which year, etc. Just take us briefly through it.
I think it happened in the wrong year, 2020. I've been trying to get this job for quite some time. My boss was not giving me. That's a different thing. It took a little time and convincing. But by the time, you know, I got this job of Sony LIV, which was in December of 2019. And we had done a couple of planning session, review session, etc. By March, I think there was a pandemic announced. Okay, so it becomes, yeah. So it becomes slightly dramatic because of that. But I thought it kind of helped us because we didn't have anything else to do. You know, either listen to some sad news on TV or doing some work. And every day, you know, what we created, there's a friend of mine right now, he's in Amazon, Amog, he created a coin called Pit Stop. Okay, so we used to do a pit stop, which was basically that everybody who's working on Sony LIV would come together on a Teams link and discuss. Earlier it was supposed to be a pit stop, basically it's supposed to be around 15-20 minutes conversation of what we have done, so that since we are not meeting each other, but then by the time we launched it in June, we were doing pit stop, which were 6 hours, 7 hours long. Okay.
What?
With breaks and people were having their food. You know, you can hear people having food in their homes. But it was like, you know, the first thing is, I think we recruited a large number of people before the Sony LIV 2.0, as we call it. The team itself was very small, especially the product and tech team. We the good thing about the content team and the marketing team is my old team. They were old team, whether it was Sogato or Raman. These are the people I have worked either in Star or in Sony earlier. So that was easier. But the tech and product team, I'm an engineering dropout, so I had little, in any case, had a lot to learn. And then the team was new and it was pandemic. So that was good fun. In a way, I think because it was pandemic and we were operating out of the Teams and the Zooms, also it gave us a little bit of purpose that we're doing something interesting, you know. And by the time it launched and a couple of new shows, then I think everybody thought that this can be extraordinary. So everybody started putting a little extra.
So the relaunch happened in 2020, correct?
2020 June, yeah.
2020 June. And I don't think Andekhi and Your Honor, they were critically acclaimed, but they did not get the kind of numbers. The big turnaround came with Scam.
Yeah.
Scam 92. You want to take them?
I think
what
between
Scam did to Sony?
Yeah. So what Scam was where it changed in terms of perception. We had small shows like Andekhi was received well in a smaller circle. Then there was a show called Jail 50, which not many people know, but it's consumed very strongly. First, it's a 4 episode. It has some big faces like Abhay Deol and Pankaj Kapoor. And it's one of the rare science fiction that we have produced. Okay.
Okay.
So it got its set of audience, which was very different than what generally Sony Live would get. But then scam came, and our analysis of scam was that let's just look at how many people read newspaper, pink newspaper in India. If we convert 10% of them, then we have a good success. And I think we got a little more than that. It went beyond the reader of pink paper, and I think between.
I remember we were on holiday in October 20 and Danish had called up and said, I think he reached out to a lot of people in the business journalism space and said, we've launched this new business show. I'm sending you it, it's not released yet, but I'm sending you a link, please see it. And I was like, oh God, I have to see this show now and all that. I went home and I remember my husband and I, we sat at 8 o'clock until 11, I think we watched 2 episodes and I was totally hooked. This was something I was not looking forward to. Inadvertently, I got into the show and completely devoured it in a few days, I think. And I think that's how it happened to a lot of the audience.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of us also convinced our family members to watch Sony Live and those shows initially. They were not very convinced that they should watch it. So, and the friends, scam is something which I reached out to you and few other people because there was a lot of nervous energy around scam. Because it was a very business show, not something which generally you see. It has a lot of terminology which people thought people will not understand and appreciate.
In fact, this was one of my questions. Business stories are very difficult to turn into fiction scripts and relatable video at that. Was it tough? And why Hansal? Because Hansal had not had any commercial success so far. So you're just very curious about those elements on the creative process.
Okay. There are 3 things we are very clear that we'll be profitable business. So we'll work within a budget. And we'll work with a budget and a business plan which leads to profitability fast. Okay. So we were not looking at throwing money to, the successful film guys who are getting a lot of money out of OTT at that point in time, even today. So we're looking at capable people with whom we can work with some interesting subject. Okay. And we thought our hero is not going to be the maker or the actor, but the subject. So we chose, our initial choice has been Scam, Jail 50, Rocket Boys. These are cerebral concepts. Not many people can write and appreciate that. But we know in a population of 130 crore people, all we have to get initially is around 1 crore people who watch it. Okay. So very clear that initially we are looking at 1 to 2 crore people watching us, speaking about us, and then gradually we will grow. Okay, we obviously had sports and some interesting entertainment content coming from Sony, particularly Kapil Sharma, KBC, and we knew that we'll add up with Shark Tank because Shark Tank was something which we wanted to launch in 19, but finally ended up launching in 21. We know those things will expand the audience base, but as far as original is concerned, we were clear that we will go with a base, what we call a cerebral storytelling. These are authentic, intelligent subjects, researched and told well.
You told me something very interesting. I'm going to get into the business part in a minute, but one more question on the creative front. You said something very interesting about the green lighting process.
Right.
It's very core to the way you run your business. Can you share that with the audience?
See, I think one of the, I was running StudioNext and largely spent a lot of time with the creator. One of the biggest problem with the creator is they will start with something and it will take a lot of time and there will be a lot of feedback, change this, change that. One of the things that we realized that if we would have been that great a storyteller, we should have been the filmmaker, right? Not working in a platform. So what is our strength? We defined our content team as the first consumer. Okay, so we represent our consumer. So our feedback would be in an innocent consumer words, like for example, I'm unable to understand. I didn't like it. I'm not getting laughter. The moment I start competing with the writer, it becomes very difficult. So 2 things we did. First thing is the speed. You hear a concept, intuitively you like it or you don't like it. Okay, and so far we have not used a lot of data and algorithm. And
really?
Yeah, we haven't.
Is it conscious?
It's consciously. Okay, first the data is incomplete. The secondly, I think data can help you improve the intuition. Ultimately, storytelling is imagination, and it should be fueled by imagination more than data. Okay, that's my present understanding. But from a creative process, what we wanted is that people shouldn't waste a lot of their time, okay, with us. We should quickly make decision, so the storyteller would get a very good, strong response, and that's what they like. And secondly, we should give them a feedback or give them a point of view of a consumer, which they don't get generally. Okay, we shouldn't be competing with the writer or the director because we are not competent enough. Okay, so I think this when actually introduced was difficult to. It's very easy to say this. Okay,
Very difficult.
it's
because
very
you are the
difficult
guys,
to act. Yeah.
Let's say you are the guys who are commissioning it.
Yeah,
You're the guys
yeah.
who are by taking the license. So the need to button is so strong.
Yeah, and all of us are ex-TV guys. TV programming guys have this little, that I know it all. And you know, we have to curb our enthusiasm and quickly get into a thing saying that how would consumer react and why, you know. So one of the biggest challenge therefore was to put ourselves in the consumer shoe and just react, okay, and we would define the consumer, okay, because it's very important when you look at scam, anybody can say, "Samajh mein nahi aaya." I'm saying, so we define a consumer. The scam is a guy who actually read pink paper, and that's it. You don't have to bother about the guy who's not reading pink paper. And this country is so large that even the population of people reading pink paper itself is big to make a show hit, you know. So you have to imagine that you're a guy who understands basic economics, you understand basic business, and then you have read and heard about Harshad Mehta at the worst, okay? Now react, okay? So that's how I think it's important. We kept on pushing our content team to behave like a consumer. I think that is,
Really pushed
and we keep doing that even today.
Fantastic. I have one more question on the creative front, but I'm going to hold it for a bit. I'm going to ask him a couple of more questions on the business front, but we'll open it up to the audience also if you have questions. But first I need to ask him. One is, could you give them a sense of the breakups? A lot of the growth people ascribe sometimes to SWOTs is indirect subs, through telcos, etc. So how much of it is direct, indirect, and also some sense of the language breakups, Danish? States, languages. Are we seeing, because I remember you said 50% of half of the viewership for Scam or Rocket Boys came in the dubbed versions in Tamil and other languages. So some of that, where are we currently on that?
Okay, on the distribution of this, how the breakup of this 24.4 million, around 13 million comes from telco. Okay.
Really?
Yeah, and 11 million comes from direct. Okay. Now a lot of people ask me which is a better financially.
ARPU, which is the better?
Financially, both are same. Our ARPU is around 606 right now. What happens is that, just think about it. It's a very, I would say, invented debate. Okay. Now look at an iPhone. Okay. It is available in Apple Store. It is available in Chroma. It is available in Amazon, Flipkart, and it is also available in shop in Lokhandwala, mobile shop. Every product category look at multiple distribution channels. Okay. Why? Because of consumer.
Correct.
Okay. If Apple says that I will only sell Apple phone because I get a better margin perhaps on Apple Store, the growth story won't be that fast, right? The penetration won't be that fast. Okay. Primarily, if you look at whether it's Hotstar, whether it's many other OTT platform, I think the future growth is going to come through, a lot of them will come through bundling, telco partnership, and very interesting, we have just started distributing coupons in the retail stores.
But there's some worry about the, just a VAS mein hua tha, I don't know if you remember value added sir. That inflated numbers, telcos have a tendency to inflate numbers. But then if they were inflating, it would show on your ARPU. Your ARPUs would go down.
Yeah, this time it's in nobody's interest to inflate number because they have to pay us back. It's CPS. So I can understand if somebody depress the number, but inflate not possible.
Okay. And the language breakup, and also I remember some months back when we talked, you said your Tamil originals and your Telugu originals will be gay. So where are we on that? And when you talk about viewership in other languages, it's from dubbed versions or from your originals in those languages? Some sense of where that is.
I think we started opening up our South Indian language primarily because of sports offering, as well as some shows like Rocket Boys particularly was, Rocket Boys, just to give you around 55% of the subscription, new subscription came from South, both directly as well as through telcos. Similarly, we have seen after Rocket Boys, people started discovering in South Scam, GL50.
Because they got onto the service.
Kind of thing. The second thing is that around that time, when we were launching Rocket Boys 1, we got a lot of Malayalam and Tamil film. And all these films, and these are none of these were really commercial super hit films. These are curated films. I would say low cost, but very interesting subject, similar like our original brief. Movies like Manadu, Churali in Malayalam, Kane Kane, Plan B in Tamil. This kind of films started doing well. Okay, first we saw a real surge of subscription coming from Malayalam and Middle East market, then Tamil and Middle East market, and gradually we are seeing numbers coming largely from Bangalore, Hyderabad also. Okay.
It's very funny, because Sony invests as a broadcaster in a lot of big films.
Yeah.
But as an OTT, you have stayed away from big films or, having them on the platform.
Right.
Especially in Hindi or even in Tamil or Telugu.
Right.
Is that conscious?
Yeah.
From a cost perspective?
As I said, we wanted, this is a new medium, and we thought it's important to have a profitable growth. And Sony. Sony is more about profitable growth. Yeah. It's not about putting a lot of money, making tall claims, and then waiting for the profitable to come sometimes in future.
So tell us about the profitability then. Anything you can share on top
No,
line?
I think we turned profitable with Sony LIV in the second year itself. The margins are pretty healthy. I would say the margins are pretty similar to the margins that we have presently in TV, which is lower than the margins TV had a few years back, but in the range of 20%.
But it stands alone on its own, or is it a business where you have to, you get subsidized content from Sony and from the studio part?
No, you get content from Sony, but then you put certain value for that content also in PNL,
Would you be able to share top line? March 22.
Very soon
March
we'll get
23.
the top line. We soon
you'll
the
become
merger
listed.
goes, yeah.
Okay.
We'll get all the numbers.
Okay. Sorry, is there a question here? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, hi sir. So, as a storyteller myself, I would like to ask you, ki Sony LIV has been doing business show, whether it is Scam 1992, Shark Tank, or sports, whether it's Olympics or political drama with Maharani. So, what kind of genre of content we can see in coming futures if I myself want to approach you with a content, with a story? So, what kind of genre would Sony LIV or StudioNext would be interested in?
First thing, I think one thing that we were spending a lot of time and we continue to spend is what we call as stories of India. This Rocket Boys, we are doing Freedom at Midnight, we are doing Jazz City, which is about 71 war. Freedom at Midnight is a book about Indian independence. So we keep on doing such stories. Scam 2 is coming. But there are two buckets which I think is very critical for our group. The first one is young adults. Okay, 15 to 21-year-old in India today has very little to watch on OTT and TV. Large number of people are watching a lot of YouTube. A lot of people are consuming a lot of content which comes from Korea and other countries. But India per se is not producing a lot of content for young adults. So that is one bucket which I think storyteller platform like us, all of us should work. It shouldn't be that 5 years, 6 years from now, our younger audience who has now become a major market don't consume Hindi content or language content, So I think that's one. The second thing is that apart from telling, there's a lot of crime and homeland security and, stories of India. I think it's over-indexed on OTT. What we are missing is love stories, human drama, the normal entertainment. I think we need that. We need Suraj Barjatias of the world. We need, when I say Suraj Barjatias of the world, somebody who also tells stories about family, right?
Actually, you already answered my question, but I still have to ask, which is that when you relaunched in April 20, the programming of OTT was, the first thing that hit you was dark, violent, rural. I mean, that is the kind of programming. There was a blood and gore, and unless there's blood on the street, it was not like worth it. You were tempted to go there, or you just said, "Yeah, ye over-indexed hai, isko yahan nahi jate."
No, we just realized there are 4 of them doing well, and they're spending a lot of money. What do we do as the 5th guy doing the same,
Okay,
So we said we won't do that.
And all the gali galoch also.
There's much of that, There's little left for us,
Yeah, you had a question there?
Hello, sir. My name is Zaid, and sir, I'm running a marketing agency, creative marketing agency. So, sir, my question is that like Netflix these days, they are collaborating with YouTubers, they are collaborating with creators. What is Sony LIV's approach, collaborating with the creators and taking it to a next level, like Netflix or something?
Zed, we are just about 2.5 years.
Zaid Khan.
Zed.
Yeah.
We are just about 2.5 years. Okay, we are at this point in time completely focused on content. Okay, because we believe, like I was talking to Vanita, we are predominantly Hindi right now. We want to do a lot of Malayalam, Tamil, Telugu, and Bengali content. And we believe the scope of bringing a lot of content in young adult space. So the focus clearly is in terms of building a lot of content. Okay. As far as marketing is concerned, thankfully with our TV broadcast platform and shows like Kapil Sharma, etc., we are able to reach out to a large number of people. But having said that, we will, as we grow, as we want to get into a younger set of audience, we'll need YouTubers, we'll need a lot of influencers to help us reach out to them. But before that, we need to create content for them. At this point in time, if I have to look at my library, we are more 30, 35 years plus content than 15 to 25-year-old content.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
2 quick questions. One is this whole thing of a lot of international OTTs are doing that, or global OTTs. They're not releasing entire seasons together because the economics are now getting slightly tougher. Your content costs, the competition pushed up cost. You know this better than I do. So where does Sony stand on it? For example, Rocket Boys 2, which we are still waiting for. I don't know when you're coming out with it. Would you do it episode by episode? Or would you...
No, we did
where are we on that front?
try with Tanav. We
Okay.
did try one. But typically, our audience at this point in time, this audience is slightly, at this point in time, the size of audience, if you look at from India's population point of view, this is not a big number. Okay.
But I'm assuming there's a multiple attached. There'll be a multiple of...
There's a multiple attached, but I'm saying this is a subscriber number. Even if you add 2.2, 2.3 is the,
2.2,
yeah.
2.2.
But still, it's a very low percentage of overall Indian population. Now, these are the set of people who actually put premium on their convenience. Okay, they moved out of TV largely because it demanded a certain amount of habit. Okay, and they are looking at a convenience. So this is our experience in Tanav. Our core audience expected us to continue delivering them flexibility when they can watch and how they would like to watch, rather than we telling them that, listen, I am going to drop an episode every Monday night. Please make time for it. So right now...
So otherwise you go back to TV. But I'm more interested from the cost perspective, which is why I asked that, is that something which there's a pressure there to...
So if you're dropping a lot of shows, overall business plan might... See, the thing is that even if you drop, say, 1 episode per week, okay, it is not advertising driven, right? A guy buys a subscription, say, I want to watch Succession, I bought it. Whether I watch it at one go, sometimes it's difficult to watch it one go even over the weekend, or I watch it over 3 months, the subscription cost is same. Okay, I think what it helps in US is actual production. Okay, so there is a big cycle. If you have to launch a show with 10 episodes, there are two things. One, you produce the entire thing, number one. Number two, if consumer is reacting in a particular way, you don't have any other way to react. It's all locked. You know, you can do a little bit here and there in terms of edit and music, but there's not much you can do, right? So sometimes people tend to do it. The third point is that in America particularly, there was this regular TV, then there was a premium TV, and then there was an OTT,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We never had premium TV.
No, we didn't have
Okay.
the HBO equivalent.
Yeah, we didn't have HBO. So we had a regular TV, and then we have OTT. So we, as a culture, the set of people who are watching OTT today doesn't have a habit to go back to TV and watch one episode of Succession or one episode of Homeland or one episode. You know, in America particularly, because they had this prolonged almost 10 years to 15 years of premium TV, where people like Spielberg would come and make shows. Some of the premium content maker actually made shows for American television before Netflix came in.
Correct.
You know, Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
You know, you have all those, all of them doing great shows, and then Netflix came. So Netflix, when it came, it was not about content.
It was one more step above premium TV.
But
Yeah.
Netflix, when it came, it didn't promise great content. It promised cheaper content.
And on demand.
Yeah,
Netflix
because
was more on demand.
Netflix first promise to American people was not that I will give you great content, because primarily they were looking
the
at,
price of premium TV.
they were saying that you are paying money to a lot of ABCs, CBS, HBOs. You have to pay me a fraction of that price and I'll give you all the content.
Correct, correct.
So, and then later, Netflix became a content powerhouse, you know, much
So
later.
Your measure of success will be subscriptions or viewership. When you say a show is a success, is it subscriptions or viewership or a metric?
I think you can drive a subscription to a show because of good promo, anticipation, etc. But ultimately, as a storyteller, as a platform, we'd like to see some great viewer engagement to know that we are in the right path. Okay. And secondly, we don't want post-purchase dissonance. People come there, they watch the show, they paid for subscription, but there is a dissonance, and the renewal rate is not very high. Thankfully, our renewal rate is above 90%. I must say, must be highest in the industry. I don't know others' numbers, so I can't claim that, but we think it's pretty high. And that's because people have watched the show and the completion rate is high. So we focus on both, but viewership more.
What's the completion rate, if I may ask?
Different for different shows, okay?
On an average?
On an average, it is in the range of 70s, late 70s.
That's a good number.
Yes, good
That's a very good number. Time's up. It's saying loudly, so I'm sorry. Thank you. Danish, I could speak to you for another hour on this subject because I really like it. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you.